So we're going to get started, and today our focus will be talking about warehouse business. And it sounds like some of the people joining our call are familiar with us. For those who are not, I'll just give a quick intro about myself, about Truckpedia, and we'll get into it. My name is Justin. I scaled a trucking company from $1 to $20 million by pretty much working with shippers from 2018 to 2021. And that was able to double that. Because of that, we're able to double the trucking company's profit margin. In 2021, my family got out of a trucking business of running trucks. And a result of my experience of learning that journey, I started Truckpedia in 2022. And now we're on the mission to empower carriers through our TMS and marketing tools. And before we even jump into the details, I want to share this page. For those of you that want to scan a barcode you see here, feel free to. It's going to give you some resources to assist for visiting warehouses. And one of the most important things that worked very well was business card and one pager. One pager comes in all kind of forms. I'm going to be sharing this slide throughout our seminar today, just so you can see it, right? When you're knocking on doors, one is you gotta have your business card. Second part, one pager. Let the people know what you operate. Some people may do dray, some people may do full truckload, some people may do TL. Let people have the idea of what you do and what rate you charge. To you, the rate might be normal, but to them, it might be a lot, 10% cheaper than what they're currently paying. So when they see your rates, they're more likely to work with you. And we want to give them exactly what they want to see. The breakdown for today's seminar, one, we're going to focus on how to find shippers. Where do I even start? Who are we targeting and where are they located? Second part is going to be, how do you get through the front door? There's a lot of gatekeepers. How do you get through them so that you can talk to decision makers and you don't get kept outside the door? Third is we get to decision makers. How do we talk to them and how do we land them? What kind of question do we ask them? And fourth one, wants to address is, why are carriers not really doing this to land shippers? Why is it mostly brokers doing this rather than carriers? So with that, and like I want to talk about, before we get into the how, I want to talk about the why, just so that we see a clear picture of what that means if you're running your trucks. So why direct shippers? Why are they hard to land, and what are the common mistakes people make when trying to land shippers initially before having any experience of doing that? Why? Let's say you're a 10 truck operation, each truck bringing about $6,000, $5,000 in revenue right now. There's 52 weeks in a year, but let's say you take 4 weeks off, truck down, you're not working, taking time off. You work 48 weeks. So 10 trucks, $6,000 per week times 48. Let's say you're doing $3 million, round up roughly in revenue. Your profit margin right now, assuming that 90 to 100% of your loads all come from brokers, freight brokers, straight from that. If you make 10% more per load, if you annualize that, it's going to be $3 million, $300,000. And realistically, not 100% of your loads will come from brokers, and that's completely fine. We just need to have a healthy balance of the loads coming from brokers and loads coming from shippers. So even if 50% of your loads come from shippers, back all your land brokers, that's roughly around 100,000, 150,000 more in profit, pure profit, $150,000 more in pure profit if 50% of your shipments come from your direct customers rather than 100% brokers. And if you have that type of money in your pocket, what would that do for your business? And just think about that. What would you do? What would that do for your business in 3 years, in 5 years, as you keep on growing your fleet with $150,000 extra in your pocket, right? This is the why that we want to work with shippers, having a healthy balance of shippers and brokers. Second part, why are they hard to find? Why are shippers so hard to find? A lot of companies, we talk to our peers, oh, we use brokers. We use brokers. That's very common to hear. So one of the biggest things is they're hard to find because trucking companies were never shared the strategies, were taught how to find it, right? There's inbound marketing, there's outbound marketing. Any business that we talk about, regardless trucking or anything else, we need to focus on inbound and outbound marketing. Inbound marketing, what does that count as? Website, people traffic coming, referral, people have worked with in the past, right? Your social media posts, you're running ads, your SEO, you're writing blogs. So that counts as inbound marketing. What is outbound? Warehouse visits outbound. People don't know who we are. We have no name. Nobody knows. We're the best kept secrets on the street. So how do we get it out there? We go knock on doors. We send emails. We make cold calls. We go to conferences and talk to people. But regardless, inbound or outbound, trucking companies were never taught these strategies. What we're taught, the channel we're given, are often the low boards, DAT, truck stop, 3PLs, digital marketplaces. These has been around for decades since the deregulation of trucking. Dial a truck, DAT came out, right? There's a lot of low boards teaching people, hey, here's the easy way out. But what the easy way means, you lose about 15 to 20% in profit margin, not just 10%, 15, 20% in profit margin. So we were just never taught that. And then this is kind of the why we want to share seminars like this to talk about different type of marketing strategies you can do. Common mistakes. What are some common mistakes people, trucking company are not doing? You're not talking to enough shippers or any shippers at all. You're just talking, you haven't started because it might be because you're afraid to, right? You're discouraged of talking more because you talked to one or two, it didn't work. The gatekeepers kept you out. You were never even able to talk to decision makers. And so you give up. You give up too early, right? On your first try. And landing shippers on the first try, that would be ideal, but that's not the reality. Reality is you have to keep on following up with them until you give them something that works, right? Lastly is you're just not following up with them. You pass out your business card. You don't even ask for their contact info, right? You get to talk to people, tell them, here's what I do. You hand it the business card and you walk away. Without their contact info, there's no way we can contact them. And very likely they receive hundreds of those business cards, often from brokers who do a better job in sales than trucking companies do. So they tend to be the one landing the business because they keep on calling at the right time with the shippers. So these are the common mistakes that I often see when I talk to trucking companies. Some of the mistakes I made myself too back then when I first started knocking on doors. And so warehouse, why warehouse visit is actually one of my favorite channels. That's actually the reason is because it's so easy to have that face-to-face interaction and dropping the neighbor card, right? I'm your neighbor down the street. I use that all the time. Even if I'm a couple of cities away, I would tell them I'm your neighbor. I'm in the area. I'm a local trucking company. How do you guys work with them, right? So we're able to learn about their opportunity more. They're not going to be able to take help on us. You're going to call them on the phone, right? If you hear a neighbor, they're more likely to give you a few minutes of your time to hear your pitch, see if your pain point and if you can solve their pain point. And in person, easier to inflict their pain. If they talk about things like broker arranged a truck, truck never showed up. Lately, in the last few years, fraud has been a huge thing. Asking, have you lost any trailers now? Everybody talk about it in the shipper community. I guarantee you, if a shipper ships off 5 to 10 truckloads every day, if you talk to them about if they have their freight stolen, probably they have. Even if they didn't experience themselves, then their friends have. They talk about all the time, right? That's one pain point. By working with brokers, you're much more likely to run into double brokers, people stealing your freight. Figure out that pain point and inflict that pain. Have your trailers been stolen? Do you really enjoy working with brokers? Do you want to work with shippers? You're going to get very energetic. You're going to tell me about, oh, yes, I love to work with shippers. You're going to start thinking about all the benefits working with shippers can bring you. Same thing. That's your pain point. That's your biggest pain point. That's probably why you're here today joining a seminar on a Saturday morning. And same thing when we talk to shippers. We want to know their pain points, inflict their pain, make them repeat what they went through so that we come in as the expert to solve their problems. And ideal shipper profile. We don't want to work with every shipper. One of the first mistake my dad made when he bought his truck is he wanted to tap into dry van. He wanted to tap into reefer. He wanted to tap into flatbed. His definition, it's putting eggs in different basket. But in reality, if you think about it, that's three complete different markets. You're talking about people doing dry. You're talking to people dealing with reefer stuff, temperature control, and flatbed construction people. They have different pain points. Reefer people care about their stuff not being spoiled, not going bad. Flatbed people care about their stuff not getting damaged, better secured. And dry van people, even within dry van, people have different focuses, different pain points. It's really hard to tap into your fine shippers yourself if you're just trying to work with everybody. When you're trying to work with everybody, you're nobody. You're not known for anything. You don't want to be known for jack of all trades in trucking. The more specialized you are, the better money you make, right? So we need to figure out who do we not want to work with first. So identify who we want to work with, ideal shipper profiles. That will increase your searchability online. If you have a website, you tell people that I haul nothing but ice cream. I haul nothing but military stuff, right? So if you're known for that, people search for you, you're going to come up. If you talk about your company, you're always going to talk about that one thing your company does. And here's one quick exercise for people. We can share this resource too if you want to use it for your own figuring out what commodity you haul. If you don't know how do I figure out what I want to haul? And we never pay attention to it for booking loads off load boards, because it's just freight of all kinds, dry product, palletized. That's all we care about if you're doing dry van. Flip through your rate confirmation for the last 3 months. Figure out what are the actually common commodities you haul. Which commodity type of product pay better, right? If you're talking to brokers, you're going to recognize a pattern. If there's empty cans, they're not going to pay you well, right? If it's something very simple, they're not going to pay you well. If it requires $250K insurance, cargo insurance, they might pay better, right? So it depends on the commodity that you want to work with. Choose a few of them. You don't have to just choose one. Choose like 3 commodities you like and try to focus on in that area. Because all of a sudden, when you talk to those people, you know exactly what their pain point is. Let's say you know exactly what their pain point is, what they go through. So that way, when you talk to them, you can better pinpoint their pain point and get a conversation started to build that rapport, to build that relationship. Here's another one. I'm not going to dive into it. If you guys want, we can go through this exercise, right? Who's ideal shipper profile, the size of a company. If you talk about Coca-Cola, when you have 5 trucks, very likely they're not going to work with you. So we don't need to work with a company like Coca-Cola. Maybe a company just trying to start their kombucha business and starting their energy drinks, supplements, right? So when they're small, but they need a lot of shipments, we got 5 trucks. We're going to land about 10 of those people. You're going to have much better success landing your own customers than the other way around, right? And once you know who you want to work with and start for warehouse visits, start planning for it. Search on Google, search online where they're at. Truckpedia Lead Finder has 2 million. What you're able to do is you're able to map it out. Type in your city name, city of industry, Dallas, Texas, you name it, Charlotte, North Carolina. Put it in there, figure out who you want to work with, and make a list on Google Map it out. Put in the company name, map it out. If you Google their address, what you're gonna see is their warehouse. If they don't have a loading dock, probably not a good fit. You don't want to just knock on the door, waste your time there. If they have a loading dock, their warehouse seems like a gigantic 250,000 square feet warehouse. Probably a decision maker is not there. The ideal one, 3 loading docks, 5 loading docks. There's not a guard shack. There's a small warehouse, not too big, but they have trucks going in and out all the time. Those are the ones that when you're mapping out on Google, probably the ideal one that we want to stop by, right? Map them out, figure out, there's different tools. You can use Google, type in toy manufacturers, type in medical equipment, type in plastic, or you can use tools like Truckpedia Lead Finder, type it in, area code, specify what you want to look for, and you get the information so you can start mapping it out, map out 10 of them. The resources, what we talk about when we talk the resources, when you go visit them, what you want to do is understanding the type of business that they do. So when you go in, you have some idea and then walking with what? Your name card, your business card, and that one pager about your company. When it comes to one pager, what matters more is going to be what do shippers care about? A lot of times, decision makers, what they care about is right service, reliability, and then three, rates. What rates are you charging? And for those of you, if 100% of your load come from freight brokers, rates is actually your number one advantage. We all know brokers' profit margin roughly around 15% on average. You mark up your rate by 10%. I always tell people that if you're booking loads off load boards, you mark your rate by 10%, you're still about 5% cheaper than what brokers are charging shippers. So there's no reason for you to keep your rates hidden. And that's why this is one of my favorite one pager is trucking rates, right? You put your logo on there where you're visiting, where it can be even on the back of your business cards. Hey, just so you know, I'm in Pasadena, California. If I only service local area where the hot lanes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a few sample rates on the back. Say, hey, I specialize hauling these lanes. Just so you know, here's some sample rates. If you do LTL, here's my per pallet rate. If you do like FTL, here's what I normally go to, and then on average what we charge. Price vary by weight, by commodity, by all those cargo requirements. But here's my sample rates, and here's what I charge. Right? Give it to them. Make it easy for them when you visit them. So getting those resources ready, we knock on doors. And the moment, like, let's do a role play or reverse the role. You're a shipping manager, have a warehouse. You're shipping about 10 truckloads every month. So that's about 2 to 3 per week, right? What do you care about? You deal with this all the time. You care about your rates. You care about your service. You care about your reliability of the carrier. And then what comes down next is rates. And when everything is the same, what can you start working with a new? Why would you work with a new partner? Well, rates is not the most important thing, but it's very important. If you're 5% lower, so, okay, let's give them a try. Right, build up that relationship, and then you can fluctuate, adjust your rate with the market price on what's going, on where the market is going. And so now, right, you can use different tools to map out the warehouses on target. You have the resources, your business card, your one pager, you're ready to go. And how do you get past the front door? Right, you drive to. Let's imagine you're driving down the street. You get to the warehouse. How do you get past the front door? The answer is you don't go through the front door. And what you do is you go straight to the back. If a loading dock is open, go straight to the warehouse area. The front door, they hire gatekeepers, they hire receptionists, they pay those people to keep you out of their gate. So let's not talk to them. They're not interested in hearing our pitch. So what we need to do is go straight to the back. Preferably, if there's a truck checking in, wherever the truck checks in, the loading dock open, you peek through, you peek in, and you start talking to people. There are often people coming out. You start talking to them to immediately talk to them. Who are the people working here? Forklift drivers. Or if it's small, very lucky you may even find the owner working back there, or the warehouse managers. And those people, when people knock on the door, everybody's going through the front. And very few people can get to the back. Those people deal directly with truckers. When you talk to them, they don't deal with outside people all the time. They see you there, they're, oh, what's this person doing here? Oh, okay, let's chat. Oh, you want to work service? Oh, yeah, we do, right? They don't get a lot of people knocking on the door in the back. So you go straight through the back, you talk to them, and very likely you have a better chance of talking to the decision maker directly rather than going through the front gate. And here's one example. I actually went knocking on the door a couple of weeks ago. And here's one example of what happened there. And I'd like to play this and share with you guys.
We're approaching the loading dock and see if we can find someone we can talk to here.
I went straight to the back.
Hey, how's it going? Good. Are you the logistics manager here?
No, he's not here at the moment.
So we're a local trucking platform. Wanted to see how you guys find trucks. Do you guys arrange trucks yourself, or how do you guys find trucks?
No, we don't actually rent trucks.
Oh, so how do you guys get stuff into your warehouse and out of the warehouse?
We get them shipped to us.
Oh, do you know what kind of trucking company you guys use right now?
Oh, I don't actually. My boss, she's the one in charge of all.
Oh, your boss is in charge.
Yeah.
Do you know if there's a card we can potentially talk to your boss?
We're gonna sit front.
All right, awesome.
So that was the first one I went to knock on. I saw the warehouse door open and someone was shrink wrapping the pallet. So I went straight to approach him. Very friendly guy. And after a few conversations, I didn't even prepare a script to talk to, just asking, how do you guys get stuff in out of your warehouse? He said, you want to come in? Come around, come in. Right? Very nice. I'm a stranger. Stop me from working. The first thing he did was not telling me to go away. And he told me to come in. I actually sat in the office for about 10 minutes. And this guy went around, tried to find the boss, but the boss was on lunch break where he wasn't there. So he told me to hey, come back. I don't know the information, but come back. The first encounter wasn't successful in landing the lead. But what happened was that friendly interaction with the warehouse people. They're very likely to help you out. And they don't get approached by a lot of people. So when you approach them, it's not a bother to them. It's like, hey, how can I help you out? Right? So that's a very common day you see. You will see rude people kicking you with telling you to go away. A lot of people say, hey, let me see how I can help you out. I don't have my boss's business card. I'll come back next time. I'll help you out. And I'll let him know when you're here. Right? So that's going to be one of the things that can happen to you. And let's say you got in, right? That's the first experience. I'm going to share more video clips of that day one knock on door, just to share that part. We knock on about 8 to 9 warehouse doors. We actually got about 4 good leads, like got to talk to the decision maker, asking us to provide a quote. One of those 8 company we knocked door on, we literally sat in, had a conversation with the shipping manager for about 20 minutes because their previous provider was not doing a good job of picking up on time. There's a lot of times, end of the day, driver doesn't show up, and they don't know about that until they have to call the trucking company. Trucking company realizes, oh crap, our driver didn't pick up, and it's giving them an excuse why. But the shipping company was not happy with that. So they were actually looking for a new provider doing local deliveries. For those of you who have box trucks in Southern California, let me know. I can actually connect you to that person. They're still looking for reliable box truck providers to do delivery. So feel free to reach out. I can make that connection for you guys. And coming back to the seminar part, when you're there, you're not trying to close a deal. You're trying to start a relationship, to talk to them, get to know about them, right? Listen more, ask for questions. If especially they tell you their pain point, ask them to inflict their pain, ask them to relive that pain point. For example, the warehouse manager telling me, I was trying to understand the situation, asking her, can you walk me through like a specific scenario what happened? And she goes, last Monday, we had 12 pallets delivering to 5 different customers and ready on the dock, 11 a.m. employment time. It was 11:30, Trevor didn't show up. I had to call them and ask them to find out that they didn't have capacity to pick up. And I have 5 pallets, my customer waiting for me to deliver those to them. So I was out of choice. I didn't know what to do, right? So they relive their pain points. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But if you work with, us, that would not be the case. If we couldn't do it, we'll communicate with you ahead of time so you can rearrange it with your customer to make sure they're not happy. They are happy and we're not pissing the customer off, right? By reaffirming what you can offer, how we can solve their problem, you're one step in. The next part is that, hey, let me see what I can do to help you out, to find people who can help you move your product, right? So we want to reassure, we want to find their pain point, inflict their pain point so that they are more likely to give you their business. And then we'll let them know, hey, here's what I can do and what I can help. And by passing out a business card, if you have the one pager and you do LTL pallet delivery, here with you here, this is how much I charge. Look at that rate. Oh, your rate looks fine. Let's work together. Right away, you may be able to land it. We don't want to, we're not hoping for, but that's the best outcome. If we can start land a shipment, a partnership right away, that's amazing. But if not, at least we're starting that relationship, get that email conversation going. And here's another example, right? We got to talk to the decision maker and we go, so who do you currently use to move your loads? Shipper says TQL. We all know TQL. Everyone makes joke with TQL. Oh, and we want to say it in a way that, oh, considering TQL, and give them a little slight pause. Have you had carriers that don't show up and you don't know until the appointment time? And then you're going to think about it. in that example, with that lady who invited us for a conversation, 20-minute meeting right away, is perfect question asking her that. Oh, you use this person. Have you had experience doing this? They got a yes or no. If they say yes, so what do you do when that happens? And they're gonna tell you, they're gonna talk. They're gonna be very passionate to talk about like what happens to them when they cannot find someone to talk to them. I had a lady telling me on a Friday, she had to go to her daughter's like some sort of tournament, but because the load never got picked up, whoever was late, she was able to attend the game. And the tournament of her daughter's like tennis tournament, if I recall correctly. And right away, she was so pissed on a Friday afternoon, 5 p.m. The truck didn't show up, and she didn't even know until appointment time. She couldn't leave because her friend needed to go out. But then her daughter's tennis tournament is about to start, so she's about to miss out on that. So we make them relive that pain point and then tell them, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. If you work with us, that wouldn't be a problem. At least we'll let you know hours ahead, even if we couldn't pick up. I understand things happen in trucking, but here's how we would do it." If they say, no, I don't have any pain point working with them. Okay, are you 100% satisfied working with brokers and not trucking carriers, trucking company directly, if you could? And we want to re-engage them. No, not necessarily. I don't have to work with a broker, right? If you're a trucking company nearby, I can possibly work with you, so we can keep the conversation going and make them think about it rather than just going there. Oh, we're a trucking company. If you need help, right, talk to us. If you need help, here's what you can do. So we want to re-engage with them, figure out their pain points by asking questions that make them relive their pain points that they have, right? Relive their pain points so they give us a chance to talk to us. And common objections from shippers. Wait, I need to think it over. We're not accepting new carriers right now. Oh, let me talk to my team. I'll get back to you. Right? Let me talk to my team. I'll get back to you. That's their way of brushing you off. Like, don't talk to me. Leave me alone. That's their way of saying that. Or, oh, we already have carriers, brokers for these lanes. I need to get more quotes. I need to do my more research. Right? So when they say that stuff, those are objections. We cannot just take objection as, oh, okay, sure. We want to, counter the objection by coming up with ways like this. Oh, you mentioned this, and we want to give them rebuttals that, hey, flip the conversation around and re-engage with them. So if they mentioned earlier that about these loads, they use TQL, but the carrier didn't show up, and they talk about their pain point. Oh, we can flip the question around. Oh, by the way, you mentioned about carriers not showing up when you had to go to your daughter's tennis tournament. I understand you need to think it over, but you're not 100% satisfied with, just repeat whatever they said, right? You're not 100% satisfied with this so that you can reach your desired state, desired outcome, whatever that is. Say, oh, you didn't do this, so you can do this. Let's suppose I'm able to solve that for you. What would that do for you personally, right? Stuff like that. Try to handle the objection, make them think to bring the conversation back again. If they still say no, we can respect it, but then before you leave, ask for their contact info so we can follow up. We actually follow up. So, if I don't hear back from you, when should I follow up with you again? And with their permission, they say, call me, email me on this date, right? So we get the desire and follow up with them rather than giving up. If they don't tell you no, I don't work with you, and what it comes down to is we need to follow up with them, keep on following up with them. Here's the second one. And oftentimes, shippers are much easier to talk to in person, and they're much nicer than we think that they are. So there's another example of a shipper. I literally told him that, hey, can I record this content so I can share with people when I do seminars on how they should approach it? And he goes, absolutely. So let's play this clip of another shipper that I spoke to. And then he asked me to provide several quotes for him before I left the conversation, before I left the room. Say, hey, give me a few quotes on these few lanes going from California to that area. So we're going to play this clip right now.
So Alex, how long have you been running the warehouse here?
Myself, I've been here for 23 years.
Oh, wow. Do trucking companies normally knock on your door, introduce themselves?
They do. Not everyone
Follows
gives
through.
me good rates. I'm a go-getter. If
Yeah.
you give me a good rate,
Yeah.
I'll work with you. If you don't,
Absolutely.
and my main focus is making sure it's an easy process for me. So you guys have like I said,
Portal. Yeah.
much easier,
Awesome.
much faster, more convenient.
Awesome.
I don't have to deal with the whole guys. So what's the email? Yeah, no. I just straightforward.
This is our second stop, warehouse. We saw loading open loading dock. Mapped them out on Truckpedia shippers in commerce. On this occasion, it was about by. And when Asai talked to the manager named Alex, great guy. He's very transparent, very honest. So he cares more about rates. There are people knocking on the door but not providing the best rates. And currently work with brokers and trucking companies. So if they work with brokers, and brokers, take about 10 to 50% cut. I'm sure there are trucking companies that can provide.
So I'm gonna pause that one here. I later clarified with Alex. Most people knock on doors are brokers. Not a lot of trucking company. He's been the logistics manager there for over 20 plus years, right? Brokers he was mostly getting rates from brokers. So he mentioned about good rates, and he wants it easy to compare. What that comes down to is how can we easily give them a quote, right? If you have something like a one pager right away, hey, Alex, where do you need commerce going to? I think he asked for commerce going to Indiana and commerce going to Texas. I forgot where exactly. He was asking, said, hey, can you give me some quotes on this? If you have your one pager with a quote, hey, here's a sample quote, and does this work for you? And he will take a quick look at that. Oh, yeah, that works. Brokers are paying me 3,800. Yours is 37, right? We can work together. So how that works is we just do the same thing. 15% is what brokers ask for. We just want 10% higher. 10% higher, we get 10% more, but we're still 5%, 5 to 10% cheaper than what brokers are quoting them most of the time. So that way, that still gives us a lot of flexibility in quoting and figuring out what they want. Right. I had a lot of conversation with shippers. A lot of them are like that. They're not going to push you away, tell you to, I don't want to talk to you. Right. A lot of them are actually very willing to talk to you.
So Alex, how long have you been running the warehouse here?
And here's another shipper. And this one, I didn't even get to see the entrance of warehouse. There's a guard shack in the yard. So I just approached them to talk to, and the conversation turned out to be very well. Let's play this one also. A guard shack for checking.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay.
Yeah, good. We're your neighbor down the street, and we're a trucking platform. Wanted to see, I see a lot of trucks coming in now.
Yeah,
Do you know how you guys currently find trucks to move your stuff around?
we have our own trucks.
You have your own trucks.
Yeah, so we have two separate companies owned by the same guys.
Okay. Do you guys ever work with other trucking companies? If we want to work with you guys, is that a possibility?
I could ask the owner to come out and speak it.
Oh, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. What's your name?
I'm Heather.
Heather.
So Heather, literally, that was my first take, right? I went in with a recorder, approaching her, very friendly, telling me that, oh, we have our own trucks. What often happens, trucking companies, when they hear, oh, we have our own trucks, they walk away. But what you should ask them is like, hey, there's so many trucks coming in and out. I see the truck with different names. I'm sure they work with outside trucking companies too, besides your own. So I just ask them, do you work with outside trucking company too? I'm not sure, that's not my job, but let me call the owner. Like, even the guard shack person, like, I'm sure she doesn't get approached by enough salespeople, because she wouldn't do that. And then what that just tells me, in Commerce, California, there are not enough people knocking on doors, because everyone's super friendly, giving me 5 to 10 minutes of their time. The owner wasn't there. So the logistics manager actually came out after we waited outside for about 5 minutes. The logistics manager came out, they do flatbed. Everything from there is a construction site. They're doing flatbed construction material. And he was asking me, give me a business card as well. Hey, can you give me a quote from Commerce, California to Phoenix, Arizona, and Commerce, California to Las Vegas, Nevada. They work with brokers to get the loads. I spoke to some drivers checking there as well, and then they got a load from a freight broker. And literally, they're going to Phoenix, Arizona, and some of them are going to Vegas. From Commerce, California, flatbed loads, brokers are arranging them. I guarantee if I owned a flatbed trucking company, I were getting load from brokers, I just mark up by about 10 to 12%, and send it to him. Hey, would this rate work? Or if I knew what a flatbed rate is going from that area, I would ask him on the spot directly. We are charging around this rate. Would that rate work for you? And asking him what that looks like, right? So that's a good relationship. Logistics manager. I did not get that to record that portion. It just came out of nowhere. I didn't have a time to start a recorder to record it. But the conversation went really, really well, right? 2 quote requests, give us an email, and to talk to them. So how do you close shippers? A lot of people knock on doors and they just enter. What that requires, once you get to talk to people, very likely, well, there are times, depends on how the conversation goes, they may give you business right away, but a lot of times they may ghost you. Sometimes we need to knock on their door again. And in this time, if I were still in trucking and I'm approaching those people, the second time I knew they talked to me, and they start ghosting me, things didn't go well, I'll probably buy some donuts, grab a box of donuts, buy $10, grab something small, snacks, boba, coffee. I start going there again, say, hey, I stopped by, a month ago or 6 weeks ago, how much ever long ago, and was not able to hear back, wanted to stop by, or just say, hey, I'm here to say thank you. I'm in the area, I just want to stop by. Thank you for making that intro last time, right? Just stop by, giving something small. Do not give up. Do not give up. Like a lot of people say, hey, if I talk to them, they reply back to me, or rates didn't work. Oh, I'm not a good fit. I'm going to move on. Do not. That's like the number one thing. If they don't tell you no, I don't want to work with you, you got to keep on following up, right? So what happens from that door knocking that day, I got 4 to 5 good leads, maybe 1 nurturing leads. With that, what happens is I'm no longer in trucking, but if we're in trucking, that's my pipeline. I got 4 leads in one afternoon. I spent about 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours, four good leads of people wanting to work with me. That's a huge win. Huge win. If I do that every week, then in a month, I'll be able to get about 20 quality leads. That's 20 shippers. And if I keep on doing that for a year, right, there's over 1,000 shippers potentially of my pipeline. But then the thing is, if you don't have a system, you're gonna forget about it. If you put on a note on a piece of paper, right, you put on a piece of paper and you just shoot a text to your team, I got somebody. If you don't follow up with them, 100% you're gonna forget them, right? And if you forget them, they're not gonna turn into business. You got your time wasted. Even if we convert 10% of the people that we talk to monthly or bi-monthly, or how frequent that need to be, even if we convert 10% of those people, you get 100 shippers a year. If you get 4, am I doing my math correctly? No, it's like there's about 50 weeks, 4 per week, you get 200 shippers, or you get a little over 200 shipper leads. If you get 10% of that every year, you just develop 20 shippers that you're working with. Even if they're small, they each give you a couple of loads, right? You got your trucks fully covered. You do that for a few years, 3 years. Now you see how powerful that is for your team, right? A lot of times what trucking owners think is, oh, I need to start a brokerage company first. Oh, I need to hire salespeople. No, those things won't work. If you don't know how to run your own business and you expect to hire people to do it, they can easily fool you. You have to know it yourself. You have to be comfortable doing those things yourself and building a pipeline. And you can do it for the first 3 months. Be a master of what you do. So when you hire people, if they try to give you BS, immediately you can see it. You can see it through them. But then now with the knowledge that you have, you can guide them. If they're not doing something right, you go knock on the door with them for a few times, and then they're on their own. Now they have a CRM, a system to keep track of it. That's one of the most important thing is you want to make sure you're following up with your people. On average, statistically, I think the data has been outdated back in 2015, 2013. An average touch to close a customer is 10 touches, meaning that after knocking on that door, that first touch, I need to touch them 9 more times before I can close them to become a customer. But 90% of people give up after 3 tries. After 3 tries, they give up. But most of them, on average, take about 10 touches to close that deal. So 3 tries giving up, no, we can't do that, right? The way to to forget about them as you weekly get more and more shippers in your pipeline is you gotta have a CRM. You don't have to use Truckpedia CRM. You can use any CRM, HubSpot, anything that you have. You gotta keep things organized. Give yourself a task. How often you want to target them? Once a week, once every 2 weeks, once every month, however that long that needs to be. Figure out your own cadence and start following up with them and assign people to do it. And then it could be a mix of email, calling them back, or go back to visit them again, right? It could be a mix of all 3 until they either work with you or tell you, I don't want to work with you. And then you ask them, when should I follow up with you? Task yourself and then start retargeting them over and over and over again and play the long game. And carriers, I go to a lot of trucking conferences. The common things I hear from trucking company, I always ask the awkward question when I ask them, where do you get your loads? Oh, load boards, brokers. Why are you not working with shipper directly? I ask them why not. And I'm too busy, I have no time. I need to find backhauls. Where do you find backhauls? Scrolling through DAT. Oh, I need to invoice loads. I need to do this. I need to do that. In my opinion, those are all $5 tasks. You can either one, automate. If you cannot automate it, delegate. Delegate to your team. Delegate your team to look for backhauls, right? Data entry, systemize it. Find a system, pay that $300, $500, how much ever that is per month. Automate as much as you can on the menu task so you can invest in yourself. Focus on what? The $500 task. The $500 task is finding shippers. What is more important than you making more money for your business? There's nothing. And how do you make more money? Well, you need to find better paying and consistent loads. Where did that come from? Not from brokers. They're not going to be coming from brokers. They're going to be coming from shippers, directly from shippers. Now, brokers are not all evil and bad. Brokers are amazing, but they're just really expensive salespeople. You got to have a healthy balance. If you want to play the long game and grow your trucking company, you got to have a healthy balance. I don't want to focus on backhaul. Dallas coming back to Los Angeles only pays $1,400, $1,300. I don't want to focus on that. What I want to focus on is the outbound loads from Los Angeles to Dallas that pays $4,000 per load consistently giving to me, right? 38, 4,000, 4,200. I want to focus on that. So we partner up with brokers. Brokers can be our extended sales team. We just know that they're really expensive and we have to babysit them. They're very demanding. We have very demanding. They pay us very low, but also very demanding. But then what they have, consistent loads that we can work with. So make sure we have that healthy balance. Focus on the $500 task. Delegate it. If one of the rules that I've learned is if you can automate it, automate it. If you cannot automate it, delegate it. If your team can do it 70% as good as how you do it, let them do it. Give them the freedom. Put that trust in your people. Develop your team so that you can focus on what? Training yourself, developing your company, and getting the sales team together. I talked to a lot of trucking companies, 200, 500, over 1,000 trucks. Majority of them do not have a marketing team, and very few of them have a sales team. How can you run a multi-million-dollar companies without a sales or marketing team? And that's exactly why we see on FreightWaves in the last few years, so-and-so trucking company went out of business. Why? Because had they been around for 80 years, 100 years, how did they go out of business? Because they rely on 5 customers that their great-grandfather developed decades ago. And they're living off that. A mix of that and broker loads. The moment they lose this contract freight, they're not nimble. They're not used to living off of spot market loads. What happens to them is they go out of business. And how can they avoid that? Developing a sales team and process that can keep on bringing new shippers to the platform. We are going to lose shippers over time, but what we need to do is keep on developing new shippers. How do we do that? The outbound marketing channels we have to apply, right? All the outbound marketing channels. Why are trucking company not doing those? Because there are not people out there sharing, teaching trucking companies. When we started trucking companies, when my dad started, he learned from his friends. And a friend told him, you download this load board thing. You download DAT, there are loads there. You search for, you call them, you book it. And they have the requirement you have to qualify. So all those things are going to be working for you, right? It's what we need to do. I see a question coming in. We're about to wrap up. Enrique, we can address it very quickly right once we wrap this up. So what does it take? Having the TMS to automate the $5 task. Automate it. If it can't be automated, delegate it to your people, right? So you can focus on the $500 one. Second part is having the credibility. Shippers are going to look you up. The moment you walk away, the moment you start emailing them, they're going to try to very quickly look you up. Do you have an online presence? Do you have any online website? Are there any reviews from your previous customers? Are you legit or are you scam, right? You need to have a database to find shippers, reliable database where you can find who the logistic managers are. So when you knock on the door, if you're having trouble reaching them, hey, I would like to see Johnny from this company, right? Talk to them. Once you talk to those people, do not give up. Have a CRM, have a cadence to follow up with those people. And that's exactly why I built Truckpedia, TMS and Truckpedia marketing to help trucking companies achieve those things. TMS, automate it. Automate as much as you can. Safety, maintenance, driver settlement, invoicing, data entry, dispatching, automate all those stuff. If you can, delegate it. Second important thing, know your numbers. What are you making? What are your costs? What's your big expense? How do you decrease that cost? Lower your costs, reduce the cost on fuel, on tires, on parts, on everything, but do not drop the pay on your drivers. And then so that you can increase what your profit margin. Marketing lead finder. How do I find people in the area next to me and that are logistics managers, shipping managers? We build a big database to assist with that. And then all the cadence is built in to assist you with mapping them out, knocking on the doors, templates, sequences, and building that online presence, having your website up there, allow people to easily, like Alex mentioned, I wish there's a portal that I can just look up the cost of a load, how much it moves, put on your website. Airbnb, hotel, airline, make it so easy for us to get quotes. We need to book a plane ticket, book hotel. But when it comes to booking a truck, almost impossible. Yes, there's a lot of different factors that can affect the rate, but we can kind of give them a ballpark of what that rate would be from lane A to lane B. And we book loads off load boards. We have the lowest rates. There's zero reason for any of us living off a load board to keep our rates hidden. Mark up by 10%, you're still the cheapest one. There's no reason to keep our rates hidden. Again, those are the resources I would love to share with you guys. If you guys want to use Truckpedia product, we'll love to help out. Let us know. If not, take the free resources, right? If you don't have a business card, here's a template, build your business card. If you don't have a one-pager, take it from us. Change the logo to yours, the rates to yours. Drayage, FTL, palletize, warehousing, whatever that is. Let people know what you do. Find out where they hang out and start targeting them. So with that, we're wrapping up the seminar. Now we're going to open to questions. Yes, we do have portal for clients to track loads. Let me bring it back to the Q&A section. So now we're going to open up for Q&A. For those of you, anybody have question, feel free to type them in the chat. Let us know what question you have. Because we finished, feel free to also, if you want to unmute yourself, start chatting. The remaining of the time, what I want to do is get more engaging.
Hey, Justin, this is Kayla. How are you?
Hey, Kayla. Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm Superfleet Dispatching LLC. I actually missed a little bit of the beginning part of your presentation. Will this be recorded? Will we receive an email with the full recording so I can review it?
Yeah, this is recorded.
Okay.
We will very likely push it to YouTube next week. So all of our previous seminars recorded, and also we'll make sure once this is available, we'll email to all the attendees as well. So next week, sometime next week, you can expect a copy of this, and we'll get it to you.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Enrique, your first question is, Justin, thoughts on going for shippers that you recently haul for through a broker? So great question, Enrique, on this one. Brokers have those what do you call it, non-complete, non-solicit that really restrict us from reaching out to them within the last 1 to 2 years. I personally would not recommend that, especially if it's a broker that you have a very good relationship with. There's plenty of shippers out there that are not that are willing to work with you, but does not have to go through a broker, right? So there's a lot of risk. Have I done that myself? Honestly, I have. When I had my own company, had that ever backfire on me? Yes, it had. I literally had shippers that I reach out to because I work through the loads that the shipper and the broker had such a great relationship. They told the shipper, "Hey, this guy tried to backdoor you." So what happened was I got blacklisted, and I was they're going to write a carrier 411 for me, and I told them, "Look, I'm sorry. I fucked up. I learned my lesson." So I stopped doing that myself. But what I did was looking through the non-solicit form. A lot of them have 1 to 2 year agreement. So at the time, before I had a database, a Truckpedia database myself, before I figured out how to find the database myself, I started digging through loads from years back, like 3 years, 5 years back. The brokers may even not in business or not work with us anymore, but the shippers, they're still in business, right? So I don't encourage people to do that. As the shipping market, the freight market is very small. So I wouldn't recommend it. So especially with all the tools out there, and you can drive by your neighborhood, you can talk to them like rather than risking it. But if you want to risk it, I wouldn't. Yes or no, it's up to you.
Use an abundance of caution. So
Yeah.
you don't want to upset the ones you like. I mean, there's good and bad brokers out there. So, make sure you keep the good ones close to you. The bad ones, there you go.
And the other question, does Truckpedia have a portal for clients to track loads? We do on the website. On the website where if you're building your website, there's a tracking part. You put in a reference number, they can see it. We can do a training through that if you would like to at a later point.
Yeah, you just got to turn that part of it on.
Yeah.
But the best part of that system that we already have is the load collaborator, right? You can do it a couple of ways, but that load collaborator gives them access as well, so they really don't need the portal to be able to click on. Basically, the portal is they put their load number in there, and then it allows them to see where that truck is at. If you're using collaborator, it's going to automate that anyways.
Yeah.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
Well, I had a question from Wayne. Do you feel that you have the same amount of success obtaining the 10 touches virtually versus physically? Physically is much better, especially the first touch from my personal experience. But after the first physical touch, then virtually will work often through email and phone call. The first physically meeting them in person give you that, like, you're real. You're not a scam anywhere. You're making the effort. And the first is what I always reach is I say, I'm a trucking company not far from you. And I see a lot of truck coming in and out. Can we chat? Right. So oftentimes, they will work with you. So I think after the first physical touch, it'll be great. Christian, you mentioned I'm not a broker that I absolutely agree with you.
Absolutely.
I had a lot of great brokers that I'm still friends with now, back from when I was in trucking. A lot of times what I think happens is trucking companies are not taking the time to really get to know brokers on the personal level. A lot of times I feel like, especially dispatchers that I want to work with, a lot of trucking companies feel like we're one below them, where they're giving us freight and everything's so busy. I need to book loads. There's not enough time to talk about outside of work. And I feel like we're all people. We can all relate on certain levels. It'd be like football, it'd be like basketball. Oftentimes we talk about those things and joke around, because once you joke around, get to know, like, say if you watch like Squid Game, hey, do you watch it? Oh, the fire in LA, you're over there. Oh, the Lakers game, right? LeBron is washed, joking around about all that stuff. Oftentimes you can become friends with them. And once you become friends, really, they'll take care of you. So, oh, hey, sorry, I'm going to be late. I mean, they know that. And brokers want to have carriers from every region, right? I want in California, SoCal. I know my drive-in guys. I got 2 people over there. Oh, in NorCal, I need my dredge people. In Texas, I need my warehouse guy for cross-docking, right? So as long as they know that, then they want that. They absolutely, every broker will want to have that.
Yeah, and Christian, also to elaborate, I mean, this is all about awareness. This is all about having a healthy mix. You're always going to have brokers in your life, right? But what would be nice if you can leverage the ones you like, right? Meaning, I have some direct shippers. Now I have the leverage to take a look at holes in my schedule and back calls for those brokers. Right?
Yeah.
It's all about having a healthy mix when we're in, and also raising the awareness, right?
Yeah.
Those of us that are dealing with brokers and load boards, our margins are usually 3 to 5 to maybe 7% margin. They're very low. Yeah. And what Justin's saying is if we go after direct shippers and add 10% to that, right? Now it's 13, 15, 17% more, right? And basically what we're saying here is we're getting 3 to 5, maybe 7%. They're getting 15% of the cut. We're just trying to make it more equitable, right? Make sure that we're healthy, and that's all we're saying. Yeah, and you're right. A lot of brokers do get a bad rap, right? But hey, a lot of brokers deserve it. So, but just make sure you have that healthy mix.
The double brokers, absolutely. But a lot of brokers, just like us, they run a business. On paper, it seems like they have 15% margin, but they got a business, they got people, software, et cetera, to pay as well. So when it comes down to them, their profit margin might be somewhere in the 5% as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, and I think if I had a broker that was like, hey, listen, just so you know, I paid $11.50 for this load. I took 15%. That's what I always do. It never varies. I'm good with that. I mean, the guy's
Yeah.
transparent. But here's the problem: like you're on a load board, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's $1,000. By the time it gets to Thursday and Friday, it's $1,400 for that load. What's going on here? Are they cutting themselves, or are they just trying to take advantage of the situation? So, again, there's good and bad brokers. You know who they are. Going after direct shippers is all about leverage, right? It's all about leverage that you can have a healthy mix of business, right?
And Christian, how many truck do you run right now? You mentioned that being on both sides. Are you still running a trucking company right now?
Hey, hi. No, actually, I'm right now on a consulting side. So I found out when I read about Truckpedia and this call that you want to make, I was totally amazed because that's what I'm looking to provide with carriers in Mexico. I'm based in Mexico, in Monterrey.
I see.
So this is going to help me a lot to continue developing carriers and supporting them on how to get the direct clients. I used to handle 15 trucks in Sonora, in Nogales and Arizona border.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult for me when I was trying to get into the broker side again, try to find out the clients, because definitely it's always going to be better if you have a direct customer. But again, the brokers are something, a relationship that we definitely need to have.
Absolutely.
Because we're going to have a lot of force, a workforce, someone in the street looking for the clients, developing relationships, and sometimes you need to get into the operations as well, quoting, billing, invoicing, etc. So it's a tough job to do, and mostly when you have a small team to make it happen. So it's
absolutely. Agree with you.
Thank you. And thank you for elaborating on my comment.
Oh yeah, thank you for sharing. And I just shared the slides. For anybody that were late to join the call, or if you'd like to have a copy yourself, I shared the slides document here. Feel free to grab it. And then James, can you show us example how that looks? I'm sorry, I think we went back and forth, got lost there. Can you share what exactly you want to look? Feel free to type it or
sorry. Just on the customer. So if the customer wants to track the load, puts a tracking number in.
Yeah, I can send you a video on that, James.
For sure. And
perfect.
Then Harry can share that. And also, I just posted Harry's a meeting link in the chat for anybody that wants to learn more about how. We have some existing Truckpedia customers on this call. For those of you who want to have a better understanding, any question to learn about a marketing product, or just want to retrain, just schedule a call with Harry. We can share that with you on a more personal one-on-one call. And then for those who are not Truckpedia customer and want to learn more, feel free to schedule that meeting link as well. We'll love to understand more about your business on a personal level and see if we're mutually a good fit or not. So I post that link there as well for those that want to learn more and talk to us.
Yeah, and also to kind of reiterate with what Justin was saying in regards to, going after direct shippers and visiting warehouses. This is one of many avenues to go after direct shippers, and the reason why this part of what we're showing you was created out of Truckpedia was necessity, right? There's all of these technologies that are out there to kind of help us go through this, but most of these technologies, the big brokers are using. So what we wanted to do is kind of look at what brokers do, right? And have something available for the masses, whether you're a small brokerage using our tool, whether you're a carrier using our tool. What we want to do is provide the resources in these tools to help you along the way, right? Because a lot of what we were talking about, Justin was saying 10%. Well, 10% above what, right? And he was saying 10% above what you're getting in the market. We have tools that allow you to see, okay, what's the market average, right? It's good to know where your floor is and where your ceiling is, the proposed ceiling, right? So when you start going after a lot of these direct shippers, a lot of this is you are now in the sea of brokerages, right? And you want to be able to stand out, right? You want to be a little bit less than the broker, but knowing again where that floor is in your cost and where that ceiling is, where what the market is doing is very powerful for you to have that negotiating factor, because now they look at you as, okay, yeah, you absolutely know what's going on in freight, regardless of whether we like the freight rates right now or not. Martin, you had a question.
Actually, not a question, just a statement. Justin, I appreciate getting the opportunity to meet and hear you in person for a number of reasons. But one of the takeaways is it gave me a chance to judge Henry. And I got to be honest with you, he's a big asset of yours, because I tell you, he's on point. I feel as comfortable talking with him as I would talking with you live in person. He's really that good. And I appreciate you guys. Just wanted to make that statement.
Thank you, Martin, for that. Yeah, Harry is a huge asset. I think everybody at Truckpedia, one thing that we have all share here, the team here, is we're all obsessed. We're all obsessed with truckers. We're all obsessed with solving a problem for truckers. And there are a lot of technology providers, highway, right? You name it. A lot of technology providers solving problems for brokers, solving problems for shippers. Not enough people coming from the trucking side. Hey, I used to run a trucking company. Now I want to run a technology platform to help truckers. There's not enough of that. So everybody here is obsessed. It's like providing that solution for truckers. I see a hands up. Feel free to speak up.
Hello, Justin, Henry, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Is it Nicole?
Yes, it is. Nicole, I am owner operator of a trucking company. I also offer dispatch services. We are just under 1 year. We're like 11 months in the industry.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I am really find it difficult to scale. We have one truck, a box truck right now, and I've reached out to FedEx. I've reached out to United States Post Office to try to obtain a contract to help scale my business. And I'm also I'm in the North Carolina Department of Transportation. Like, I see all of these contract opportunities, but they really look so big for my small company. How do I know exactly when is the right time to put myself out there to grow? Because I don't want to get an opportunity and lose it. So, and I'm also looking to add to my fleet, well, to add to grow. But like I said, I'm kind of scared because the way everything is running right now.
Thank you. Great question. Great question. And one box truck dispatching a few trucks. The trucks that you're dispatching for right now, they count as your assets too. One thing I want you to realize when you leverage is how many trucks you're directly in control of. Second question is, it's great that you want to reach out to FedEx, UPS, all the big companies. The problem is with them is that you're too small. They're not just
exactly right.
Not award you anything. They're not going to award you anything. What I would do is, here's one key question you need to ask them. You already talked to them. They replied to you. Seem like there's a conversation going back and forth. What I would ask them is just ask them, hey, how many trucks do I need to be before you start awarding me business? I'm going to get there, right? They're going to tell you, I need you at 20. I need you at 30 before you can start working with us. Okay, so now you can have a number to work with. And in the meantime, right, don't forget about the big one. Those, put them in your CRM, task it, that, hey, when it gets that number X, whatever the dimension is, I'm going to reach right back to them. Hey, remember me? It's Nicole. I'm at this number now. Can we talk? Right away, say, oh, I actually, may or may not, if you have an email, screenshot it. Hey, it's me again, right? I'm at 20 trucks. Can we chat? Anybody that sees that, everybody loves the underdog stories. Oh, Nicole grew from 1 to this number in Y amount of time. I love that. Let's chat now. So they actually appreciate when you follow up with them in that way. But in the meantime, you're in your neighborhood. You see a lot of
Yep.
drive around, see which small warehouse has box trucks. A lot of time for box truck, the business parks. Business parks, drive around there yourself. If you see them having box trucks coming in and out, go knock on that door. Hey, this is Nicole. I got a few box trucks. I'm your neighbor. Where are you guys delivering to? What help do you need, right? And then you just, this is actually a perfect scenario. If you were in SoCal, the Commerce location I spoke to, the lady who talked to me for 20 minutes on my first knocking on door, that would have been a perfect business for you. But I guarantee you, there's a lot of frustrated shippers in North Carolina. I forgot which location you mentioned. Wherever you are.
Fayetteville.
Yeah. So in that area, find those business park, industrial places. Knock on each stores that have a box truck. I can deliver. Because one of the things I don't understand is box truck. No, I don't understand. I think, in my personal opinion, box truck companies, you don't need to go too far out. Focus on your local area. Do your local delivery. That box truck company, the company that deliver about 11 to their customer receive about one to three pallets per delivery. So they ship about anywhere from 30 to 40 pallets per week. So every day they're going to need delivery. And each delivery, they pay about anywhere from $150 to $300, depends on number of pallet counts. It's all local delivery. So one truck, I did the math. If you own a box truck, you can technically bring in anywhere around like $1,500 per day in revenue delivering in the local area. That's just one customer. Find very soon you're going to grow. As soon as you grow to that fast, when you actually get to the 20 or 50 truck that UPS or FedEx was asking for, once you get that point, you compare the rate. You know what? I may not want to work with UPS, FedEx anymore. These customers have developed. They pay me better, and they're more flexible, shorter pay term, right? Like UPS, I don't know how long their pay term is, but the smaller shippers, one of the best things is they can pay you within a week, within 2 weeks. Very, very quick turnaround on the cash flow part, right?
Yep.
So that's what I would recommend you do is box truck. Do not send them 48 states, driving on the low board freight. Stay local. Try to develop a couple of those people, work with, right? Mixing the broker loads, local routes, your own customers. I guarantee you're going to grow really fast. There's a lot of demand.
Yep.
And those shippers, especially for box trucks, if you type in box truck companies in your zip code, see how many actually come up. Not a lot. And you might be one of the few if you have an online presence. Well, if you have that, just knock on those people's doors. They cannot find solutions to some of their needs.
Yeah. And also, like Justin said, leverage your dispatch, right? Those are that makes you look a lot bigger than, in their eyes, you look a lot bigger, right? For you, you're like, okay, I'm a single truck, but the reality of it is you have control over all of that.
Exactly.
And I will tell you, if I was a trucker, or that I'm being dispatched to, like you're dispatching, and you're dispatching me a direct shipper, I'm very happy. That's a feather in your cap if you can pull that off as a dispatch company, right? Plus, you can increase your margin, right? Yourself. So absolutely leverage that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys, for the information. I really appreciate it. And I did schedule my meeting with you, Henry.
Great question, because Nicole, your question, I guarantee you, a lot of people have those questions too, especially on the smaller side. Everybody thinks you're not big enough, or everybody thinks like, oh, I got 20 trucks and I'm big enough. Like average 90, I think 90% of the trucks have less than 5 or 6 in the US. If you have 6+, you're in the top 10%. So yeah, so you're in the top 10%. A lot of small companies out there, but most of those people are not reaching shippers directly. Appin, is that Wilson?
Yeah, this is Wilson.
Hey, Wilson.
How you guys doing this morning?
Good.
This afternoon. Hey, good to see you guys again. I just want to give you guys a quick shout out. Like I met you, Justin, at the Broker Carrier Summit last year in like late October, early November, and that's when we became Truckpedia customers. And I just want to say it's been great working with you guys. Again, it's hard to believe we ran for like 4 years without having a TMS, and then we finally get one, and it's literally the best thing, from scanning our documents to tracking to just about everything we need. Our receipts, our fuel, sending all our invoices right away. Everything that you guys do at World Truckpedia has been great. And then the icing on the cake was, we recently had a storm kind of all across the U.S., but here in Texas, Texas, we're not really used to dealing with such bad weather. And you guys called me and said, hey, we have this load opportunity for this new shipper, and we've ran something like 20 loads with that shipper already, and it's been great. It kept us local during the storms, and we're even doing some more next week. So if anybody's on this call and is actually just thinking about, well, is this worth it or not, the cost, all these things, absolutely give it a shot, because you guys just, and then on top of that, you paid quickly. I sent you an email, Justin, on Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, the money was in the account. So, but I got into trucking mostly to help my dad. I wanted to be a pilot, but my dad got into trucking. Then we opened up a brokerage, and I just saw that he was struggling. So I said, let me do this, maybe try to figure this out. And so, with parents and in business, they can get a little bit paranoid, as you guys can probably understand, especially as business owners yourselves. So when there's a question of invoicing or money, and it's not through a factoring company or somebody else that can go through it, somebody that we're used to, he was very, very paranoid until I said, hey, look, these guys are working on it. And then later on that afternoon, the money came in. So, it was even cheaper than the factoring. So I just want to give you guys a big shout out. I'm very, very happy. If you guys are thinking about it, if anybody's on this call, it's absolutely worth it. Just give it a shot after and actually use it. One of the mistakes I made was that once we got onboarded, we didn't use it for a couple weeks just because we weren't really sure if we wanted to just switch everything over. And then once we switched everything over, we were like, oh, I can't believe I didn't do this sooner. Everything's right there, all the records. So a very big shout out to you guys. I met the
Thanks,
team,
Will.
Leslie, Leisha, Henry, you've been great. Justin, you've been great. Like, you actually answer the phone. It's kind of odd to just be able to call like the CEO of a company and just say, hey, this is the problem I'm having, and you actually get a response, or you send an email and get a response, as a lot of the guys on this call have seen. Just trying to get in contact with direct shippers even is a challenge. So I really respect you guys. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me and my company and my family. So I just want to give you a big shout out. I pulled over just to tell you guys this, and it's worth it. So I'm going to
Thank
get
you.
back to driving now, but thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Wilson. You're putting me in tears. Thank you. To echo what Wilson said, the shipper that we connected on the loads with, she actually came from one of the shipper at Noctora, and I actually didn't end up moving any loads for that specific shipper. And that shipper said, hey, Justin, I have a friend. Can you help them out? And then we just sent a friend request. We chatted, said, absolutely. So we said, hey, we need Dallas rounds. Oh, I know a guy on our platform who does Dallas. So let me connect it to Wilson. So right away, rates, everything worked, and just started facilitating everything like that, right? So it just worked out. And I actually personally enjoy knocking on doors. For those of you, if you're ever in SoCal, every week I'm planning to spend 3 to 4 hours knocking on the door. For those of you, whoever is in SoCal, feel free, offer to anybody on this call. If you're ever in SoCal, I'm absolutely open to represent your company as if I'm your company and go knock on door, to give you that experience. Some of those people, if I'm traveling, I do go to a lot of conferences. Broker Carrier Summit, where I met Wilson. Those of you who don't know Adam Winfield, he and I will host another in-person direct shipper seminar. I think it's happening in April in Indiana. We'll have a discount code for those people to attend. We'll host a 4-hour-long workshop. We're going to lead everything pretty much talked about here and more, all the different channels. How do you build your carrier packet, website, making cold calls literally in person, right? We'll have those sessions in person in Indiana. I think it's about a little over 3 months from now, in May or April, Broker Care Summit.
Yeah.
So we'll be there. And Wilson, thank you for the kind words.
Wilson. And also to kind of reiterate, we're unique in the space, right? There's TMS and there's all kinds of companies out there, right? But we actually practice what we preach. So all of the tools that you use, we use as well. So what the goal of the company is eventually to have a marketplace, right, where we are sharing introductions, vetted carriers and vetted shippers coming together, and so a lot of times, like what happened with Wilson, is we make a connection, and so we take that connection and we spread that out to our clients that are on our platform. And so from time to time, the people that are on our platform get a phone call from us saying, hey, I've got this client. And again, the goal of this is to give you all tools to help you go after direct clients, but also give you networking opportunities that you would not normally have as a small carrier or a small broker. So,
and yeah, to thank you, Tal, for sending your LinkedIn link there. Everybody, if you don't have a LinkedIn, highly recommend everybody have a LinkedIn platform, because shippers are on LinkedIn. We need to go where shippers hang out, right? If we need to start building those online presence, LinkedIn is one of the best places. I see hands from a few different from different people. Enrique, I'm not sure how long your hands have been up, and Wilson. Let's just talk one at a time.
Hey, Justin, Enrique here. No, one of the things that I was discussing with Henry, and first and foremost, I just became a customer of Truckpedia, and the TMS is actually really good. I've passed on some feedback, so I'm glad that some of those feedback, you guys have done a great job at addressing that really quick. So just a shout out there. On the marketing side, we're just getting started with the marketing. In fact, there's still, I think, maybe another meeting to set up the campaigns and the pipelines and all that good stuff. But one of the things that I was discussing with Henry, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on this, is it would be great if for example, there was a service potentially of Truckpedia helping with creating some of those pipelines, or the email automations, and helping us kind of be in direct contact with the shippers. And the reason I say that is I'm in the trucking business, but the trucking business is not my only business, if that makes sense. So yes, I agree with the focus on the $500 tasks, and I want to do more of that. But sometimes I don't have time to do or focus on as much as I would want to on the trucking business, because I'm out doing other things as well.
So if I'm not mistaken, you're talking about like calling, right? We have the email automations, but hey, I need a partner to help me call.
Exactly. Well, that would be great. I mean, I don't want to tell what you developed for your business, but yes, somebody who can help bring those or help us set those appointments with the shippers.
Yeah, we're actively looking at bringing on some partners to help with that. You know, it's kind of a larger evaluation, right? And, what we don't want to do is bring on somebody that doesn't understand the product that we're using, right? Exactly. We want to make sure it's a good partnership with that. So it's going to take a bit, but as soon as we have that, we're going to share it with you.
Yeah. No, and ideally it would be somebody who is trained to call shippers, right? Not a third-party inside sales pipeline manager that calls on anything. Somebody who knows what are the carriers or what are the shipper pain points. So Justin, if you ever need any feedback or ideas or just some validation of whether some trucking companies would be willing to pay for it and how much, I'll be glad to have a conversation around that.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, Truckpedia will grow with our customers' needs. When we, as a startup ourselves now, absolutely we'll keep that in mind as we keep on scaling, keep on growing, and adding the sales extension arm for trucking companies. How do we train them, and then they work for different trucking companies to make calls? That's an amazing idea. Essentially, that's what a lot of brokers do, right? They have their sales team making calls at different channels, knocking on doors is one channel, email marketing, cold calling, all those different channels that can be potentially growing for each fleet. Yeah, absolutely, Enrique. Thank you for the offer. I will take you up on that when we launch that side of the business.
Wilson, you had a question. I know you had raised your hand again.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think I just left my hand up from the last time, so
no
I
worries.
didn't turn it off. But
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
Thanks,
guys. And for those of us on the call, feel free to type your questions, speak up if you have any. But if not, right, we will and we will love to keep being in touch and engaged. Feel free to reach out to us, even if you don't have if you're not where. If you're happy with your current systems, if you're not looking for a new system, we would still love to help with by building a community in that sort. So feel free to connect with us all. We'll probably think about how Truckpedia. Thank you to Tal for giving the suggestion, is building a community of everybody, bring everybody in, share best practices. So we'll talk internally. How can we turn this into a community of truckers, right, coming together, partnering up together to grow the fleet. So we'll talk internally. Thank you guys again for joining the call. We'll be here for another 30 minutes ish if you guys have more questions. If not, I know it's a Saturday. I don't want to take up everybody entire Saturday. Feel free to hop off, and if you want to schedule a call with us, you have a link. You know how to reach us, and I'll even put my cell phone number here. If anybody wants to send me a text, Henry, feel free to share yours too. If you guys want to just text us,
of course.
Yeah, text us, email us, connect with us on LinkedIn. Feel free. We'll love to stay in touch, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. We have monthly seminars. Next one will be a month from today. Every seminar we talk about one go-to-market channel. This time it's warehouse. Next time might be something different. So we look forward to seeing you all next month if there's no more questions.
Hey, Justin, any conferences you guys are heading up this month or next month? I know there's a bunch of them in March, but any ones that we should keep an eye out?
A lot of people talk about Manifest. If you can get in for free, I would recommend you go because there are some shippers. It's a very big conference, especially if it's a little scary at Manifest just because there's so many people. How do you become, get comfortable talking to the Hawaiian March Palm Spring Food Shipper Conference? That's probably one of the best ones to land shippers, dry or reefer side. Lots of shippers there offering RFP, and lots of large trucking companies go to those events. So lately, probably that one is a good one. And also, what I would recommend is a lot of local conferences for people to go to is commodity that you prioritize. What commodity you want to haul the most? Type in Google, seeing events near me, or meetups, conferences, trade shows for that commodity haul. Those are probably great places to meet up with people.
Yeah. And for those of you that are on here that have never been to a conference, my recommendation is look at something local, go there, get your feet wet. Because when you talk to people, you're trying to network, and your first time, you're going to sound like you got a box full of marbles. Trust me. I've been to these conferences. It's happened to me. I had to learn how to, network and connect. So, but like Justin said, look at your commodities, look back at what you're doing, Google search it. You'll find local stuff. Manifest is a fantastic show. It's wicked expensive. It's spending $1,200 for tickets, for hotel and tickets and getting in there. If you've never done it, it's just it could be a waste of money. But
Manifest is $2,100.
Yeah.
How do you Justin?
So Manifest is free for shippers. I had a shipper friend who offered me a ticket to go with them. So if you have shipper friends, shippers are going there for free. So feel free to leverage that with the shipper.
What about, do we come? So we're a trucking company and a warehouse company.
Claim yourself as a shipper, see what they say. Yeah. You do have a warehouses, so you do stuff that need to ship out. So I think you can get away with it.
Yeah, you're a 3PL today.
Yeah. And then Tal, I do want to talk to you. I had a shipper that I spoke to where they have for your warehousing business, they work with a lot of overseas brands that want to sell in the US. What they're doing is drop shipping for those people, and they cover ocean shipping, like freight forwarding, drayage, and last mile delivery. Help them to ship LTL and FTL. So I think, I think we can talk a little more on that one, on how you can best target your warehousing side of these.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
But the trucking and transportation has been something I've been looking into for a long time. Just starting out, basic bones, LLC, and getting all of my stuff in a row and everything. What suggestion would you guys have about going through that process and figuring out a target market for what you're actually trying to do?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot going on here. What I would probably start doing is aligning yourself online with some of the movers and shakers in the business. Like you can look at some of our videos, but Justin said looking at or he had a conference with Adam Wingfield. It's Wingfield. He owns a consulting company, and he really helps, clients that are looking to start and looking to also scale, right? Depending on what you're trying to do in regards to the transportation industry. I would just try and align yourself with some of those people, kind of look things over and see kind of what the best practice is, right? Because you might have been in logistics, but starting another company, right? And you're not wrong to look at commodities, but the reality of it is when you start a business and you start going after, you're going to have to freight of all kind, right? You're going to have to go after freight of all kind, right? I don't know if you're going to specialize in dry freight, flatbed freight, refrigerated freight, box truck. I mean, there's a lot of things to look at here. I will tell you, freight overall, very successful companies are staying within a 450-mile radius of home, of wherever that home is going to be. So when looking at that start, obviously accept what you need to accept, but stay local. Something happens. You have to understand, if you're running a small company, if something happens, 400 miles is nothing to get help. But when it's 1,200 miles, that's a problem, right? So I would scale small at first, stay local if you can, and eventually you're going to have to niche down. Even if you're refrigerated or dry freight, or if you're flatbed, the people that have grown the businesses, they find their niche, they find what works for them, and then you kind of double down, right? So there's a market for everything. I will tell you, if you're looking at dry versus reefer pays more, but reefer's equipment costs are more. Okay. I know that flatbed pays more than dry van, right? However, depending on the load, eventually if you start going after high value electronics, medical, all those pay more, right? So, look at that. Then also look at the other programs that are out there in your local, there's local trucking forums and local trucking, like if you live in Massachusetts, I think it's called TAMS. If you live in Ohio, there's these forums that bring carriers together. Start intermingling with those people. You'll learn a lot about what's happening locally, and also a lot of these people are mentors, right? Like Adam Wingfield. I love that guy. Part of what we do on our TMS side and how we help with not only the pricing side and like reporting is based upon feedback from him, because he consults with the big guys. He does small and big, and he's a brilliant guy, in trucking. So, but yeah, it's tough to get started. I would say, if you're going to look at trucking right now, I wouldn't buy 3 different types. I wouldn't buy like a box truck, then a flatbed, and maybe a dry van, and then some sprinters, right? I would kind of stick with one area, right? And kind of work that area. Now,